Hi, Sonder family. I think that's going to be the rest of my summer theme song. I love it. Nice and easy. Mark McGrath and American authors. I love that song. Taking it nice and easy. Sit back, really embracing our sensory. I love that song. I think it goes really well with savoring this month. Welcome, welcome to your Monday morning setup. You have Maya in the chat and me in front of the screen, Jennifer Ogilvy. Maya's in Colorado. I'm in Texas. We have a little bit of a drizzly morning, so I'm just in heaven. Our little parched earth, I always say it stops raining. Rains in the spring and then it stops. And we don't see rain again until October. So it's lovely to see that. I love that we have made it to July. Summer's hard, summer's hot. We feel a little draggy, but we've got this theme inspiring us to find the things in our life, to savor, to be grateful for. So make sure your chat is set to everyone. Wendy said she's been to several of these, but she's a first time commenter this morning. So we're glad to hear from you, Wendy. Everybody's giving each other a good morning welcome. I love that. If there is anybody joining us for the very first time at a social, just drop a me. You have cameras off, you have mics off, and this is your time. But we love this Monday morning. Y'all are just steadfast and steady. You're here, and you're always there for each other. So it's really good to see how we start the week together. So yeah, make sure that chat is set to everyone. You may be joining us via the Zoom link or I'm sorry, the YouTube link. And you're watching this as a recording, and we hope we can see you attend live soon so that you can be part of the community element of this. But if you are watching on YouTube, we're proud of you also for carving out the time to be intentional with your journal. But as Maya just said, all the fun is in the chat. And you come to these enough and you hang out in the chat enough. I mean, we have this community. We're virtual. Many of us have not met in person, but we do feel like we are part of each other's lives because we do come to these and we've created this space for one another. So good to see you. I think, you're going to be seeing this July reminder about it being our invitation to pause, to reset. That's, mid-year, maybe January was one thing for you, and now we got to kind of regroup. We love fresh starts. So here we are with that. We're resetting our heart, refocusing where our energy is. Before you know it, we're going to be done with hot summer. We're going to start that process of moving through the fall season, letting things go like the leaves on the trees, and then we'll tuck into our wintering selves. So very seasonal vibes, but this is that reminder, mid-year. Let's try to embrace it the best we can, get that energy going and choose our direction for the rest of the year. I just think that graphic is so great. And no better way to do any of that stuff than to really look at where savoring fits into our life. So you're going to want, I know that, you may have already heard about this one, but we're going to be shouting it out for a bit. Mayha's doing a free exclusive on Wednesday, July 22nd. Maya will be there hanging out in the chat with you. It's going to have the similar vibes to the past exclusive that she did. As you know, that one ran over a lot of Q&A, a lot of interaction. So you'll want to check that out. And even if you're unable to attend live that day, go ahead, sign up because that's going to give you that straight reminder like, oh, okay, we did it. Here's the link. Go to the YouTube channel and you will be reminded to grab a view of that recording. All righty. Yeah, and there's some there's team summer and then I was always team summer because as an educator, it was like my different life, right? That my other self. But now that I'm not working full time outside of the home, whew, I'm more of a spring fall girl, I think. Anyhow, okay, so but we're gonna figure out how to savor summer with Mayha. And then we share these community guidelines. I didn't see that a lot of people, anybody said they were necessarily new this week, but we do just post these up, refresh yourself. It's all about, yeah, Summer Alex is a different person from other Alex, right? All righty. Oh, I love that, Stephanie. You missed the Christmas in July social. Well, email hello at silkensonder.com and ask them to bring it back. Maya and I we got to do the Christmas in July socials of several times together. And so we're big fans. We would love to do that again. There is something about doing that at mid-year, getting ready, things to look forward to, talk about a rose or a bud to look forward to. Yeah, so hello at silkensonder.com is our headquarters. Let them know you want that. And because they take that information in, and then when they decide the direction of things to go, you never know. Maybe we can bring that back next year. So community guidelines, safe spaces for one another. We love Mondays. Let's just say it together. We love Mondays and keep saying it. Convince yourself. It's a fresh start, a chance to set that new tone for this week, a week at a time. And it is a great day to be alive. So, of course, we are talking about savoring. Our mind map questions are great about savoring things that we may be overlooking. We are learning to live in the present and fully enjoy the gift of every moment, even if it's 110 degrees outside. We will kick off our morning with that savoring mind map. We are on week two. Last week was the first week we dove in. You're going to love the prompt today. Maya and I worked together this past weekend on the other weekly setup, and people loved this one. So you're going to really love this one and enjoy it. We'll do a rosebud thorn reflection over this past week. And then we'll do those weekly setup pages that I know you probably have your cadence to, but we've got some new examples to show you, maybe some old examples that are new again. But we try to keep things in your mind to think of ways you can incorporate the things of your life into your pages. So we'll be sharing lots of example from y'all, you wonderful people. And if you see your example used, we want to say thank you. And feel free to drop in the chat, hey, that's mine on the left. So we can all say thank you. So, yeah, Lori's here. It's okay that you're late. We're just glad you're here. I always say Monday, most of the socials when we have them, everybody, vast majority of everybody's there, like at the front end, except for Monday mornings. We all got to go get our cup of coffee ready, and we sort of dribble in. We're just glad you're here. So, week two of the Savoring Mind Map. Now, y'all may recall last week I did week one. I just took it straight to my gratitude jar. That's what spoke to me. So, week one mind map for me went to my gratitude jar. And then the one we're going to work on today is actually on my expense tracker. I'm going to use the whole expense tracker for it and work on it throughout the week. And once we get going, you will see why. For me, it was not a short answer prompt. And so I want to really dive into it because it was so delightful. So we have 4 weeks. You can do these anywhere in your journal, what meets your needs. Some people like to go to the last page. Some people go week to week on the weekly scratch pad. Maybe you use your expense tracker or you squeeze it in around your coloring page, that coffee cup or teacup that we worked on this past week, your quote page. It's all about you. Maybe you have a sidekick journal and you do all of these in that. So, really, wherever you want to do it. And we have been invited this month to slow down and linger longer on the things that have nourished us, the things that have made us who we are, whether it's a memory, a ritual. Last week we worked on the conveniences that maybe get overlooked in life, those things that are present there every day, but that we forget to be grateful for. maybe a beloved story. And so we want you to kind of carry this in your heart through the whole week. I hope savoring never leaves us. At the end of July, I hope we say, okay, that's one of my words. I'm always going to go to it. I've shared indulgence was a really big theme for me, and it sticks with me and it helps me make decisions now, because it was never anything that I was ever allowed to be. Um, and so indulgence was a game changer, and I'm hoping savoring will be one of those themes for you. So, last week we looked at the overlooked. We talked about things like the freshness of clean sheets, the electricity, just flip it on when we do the switch, turning on running water, those things that we might overlook because we just get busy with life, and we were invited to slow down. My gratitude jar grew and grew and grew through that exercise. I did it in a gratitude jar. Today, I love this question. We are invited to savor the media in our life. Sometimes media gets a bad rap, but there are some really good things and great things about it. So, books, music, films, podcasts, photographs, and stories shape our lives in ways both subtle and profound. So, we're going to explore the media that has informed, inspired, comforted, and accompanied you through your story. Which stories, songs, images, or voices have become part of your personal journey? And what have they helped you understand about yourself or the world? And oh my gosh, the I got to be the behind the scenes person for both of the weekly setups, and the stuff that came out as we started reflecting on moments in our life that we kind of had these aha thoughts. Books, I love all these quotes. A picture's worth 1,000 words. Music gives a soul to the universe. Think about those, your personal playlist that kind of became a compass point for you. Maybe you were moved beyond words at a theatrical performance or a movie you saw that so I started this, and y'all, I haven't finished yet. I'm doing mine on my expense tracker, and I'm starting with books because I'm an avid reader, but there are also movies that have defined me. For me, I'm going to share just a couple. I know this is going to be such a personal journey this week for everybody, but I put like which story, songs, images. Okay. Are You There, God? It's me, Margaret. Ah, made me feel seen. So it's not just a list. It's like, why? Why is this so important? And I wrote, I was a late bloomer as well as a worrier. Margaret's a little bit of a worrier, if you recall that book, about everything. I found so much comfort in that book as a teenager, being seen. Another one as an adult, the book Saving Cece Honeycutt. If you have, oh, I love that book. Saving Cece Honeycutt resonated so strongly about community and how women can have an impact in their world when they come together. And that book is so good. It's this little girl, and she really doesn't have a mama, and she ends up with this community of women. And when I read it, I thought, oh, there were women like that for me in my life. And then I hoped to do that. So those are like where I started with books. I started thinking about movies, and one that popped up to me, well, two, Dirty Dancing and Grease, a kind of about agency and owning. Now, I will say, I watched Dirty Dancing as a mom of a teenager, and I was like, oh, baby had no business with that boy. But there was this idea of kind of becoming your own person in spite of what other people thought. Same thing for Greece. Did she change for a guy or did she change for herself? The question will never be answered. So yeah, nobody puts baby in a corner. But if those are movies, if they come in, I watch them. I stop, I watch them. They just resonate with me. They may not always have the best, strongest message about a woman, but boy, it takes me back to some of those poignant times in my life, right? About I can make decisions for myself. Oh, him a promise. Yes. Beautiful. Oh, sung at your, oh my goodness. So there's songs that will make you, come thou fount of every blessing. I will bawl every time I hear that one in church. So start thinking about those things that are just so impactful. We are not going to have enough time to do this prompt this morning because one thing's going to lead to another, and we're going to share, and it's going to trigger for you. Oh, yeah. And not only that movie, but this movie, or songs that stir you, or maybe there's this photograph and you keep it out to remind yourself of that version of you and who you are, Um, so yeah, so anyway, again, I'm doing mine on page 25 because I don't use the monthly expense tracker, and I knew I was going to need the whole page for this prompt. I'm going to give you a lot of music time, and y'all share as these songs come up because we will trigger for one another those things. Now, this is stuff that we savor. So going backwards sometimes is tricky, right? I was sharing, I adored Little House on the Prairie, the series, the television show, watched it well into my adult life. I can remember feeling a little dorky for doing so, but I will tell you, when I think back, I watched that show because it gave me an escape from my family of origin. I saw this idealistic life. It wasn't an easy life, but they always wrapped the stories up with a good lesson, a good learning. And when I think about that, I think that impacted me on how I approach life. One of those, another little moment. So, but when I go back to that time, I also think about, oh, that wasn't a good time. And I was escaping through that show. I savored that. So I want you to think about the things that you savor. Don't go to the tougher stuff. I really want you to think about the media that you savored, maybe during those rougher times. And then also just take it forward to, like, yeah, what got you through COVID? Like, will you always remember Tiger King as that escape from the pandemic, right? And it provided that. Okay, I must stop talking. Let me put on some music so you can get going with this prompt. I have a feeling we're going to be tapping into checking out some of those old books that we read years ago and rereading them and savoring those words once more, savoring shows. Maya was talking about, we have gotten so bad as a society of just binge watching. What does it look like if you find a show and you throttle it and watch it the old-fashioned way, and you allow yourself to have some space between one episode and another? And you have that moment of really thinking about it, understanding why it's touching you, why it's moving you. That's what I love about this theme. It's not just this list, it's the why behind it. How did it impact who you are? Did it provide you a compass point, an escape? Were you, I really think I learned about justice through watching Little House on the Prairie, because they tackled some tough stuff that maybe wasn't talked about that much in very subtle ways. So I hope that you will consider this throughout the week and maybe go tap into some of those things that informed who you are, that made you who you are, as we continue this journey of savoring together. Thank you so much for participating in the chat and sharing. Now we're going to go to page 36 and reflect back over this past week through our rose, bud, thorn activity. The thorns are the things that we have little control over. Maybe something didn't go your way. It could have been an expense related thing. Maybe it's something with health that doesn't always. I know what Nathania's is. She shared at the front end of the social that she got exposed to gluten and she's not supposed to have it. And so that's probably your thorn, right, Nathania? For me this week, there is something going around amongst the family, and the kid, everybody's been kind of dropping, and we're not sure if it's different things or if it's all related. We're hoping, we actually had our little grandsons yesterday, and one of them got very sick in the car, and we're hoping it was not the bug, that it was actually because we had the kids to help out. We're hoping it was car sickness, but we don't know. So you know that feeling when you're like, oh, am I next? What should I eat? Should I eat? Should I not eat? So I'm right there this week with that one. For me, the thing I'm looking forward to, the thing I'm anticipating, we talked a little bit about Christmas. Maybe it's Christmas for y'all. I think we're going to get some counters at the cabin, which I'm very excited about. I've been squirreling away some savings to do that because we have tile with nasty, nasty grout. And I'm convinced, we're going to get, again, we're going to get food poisoning when we cook on those counters. So I think we're going to be working into that. And then what was just the highlight of your week? And y'all, mine was so simple. But on Thursday, I had a delayed birthday dinner with my son and his family. My daughter's been traveling, so she wasn't there. But they gave me, as an educator, I stopped wearing colognes and perfumes because I didn't want to cause too much sensory for my kids. And so in retirement, I've been sort of like re-embracing fragrances. And they gave me Love's Baby Soft Cologne. If you know, you know it. And you can imagine I smell like a diaper now, a little fresh diaper. But oh my gosh, to squirt that on. And so I also got a little 3-month fragrance subscription that I get to go pick 3 different fragrances. So I'm embracing that sensory part of who I am again. But that was my rose. I opened it up. I was like, oh my gosh, 50 years later, it hit the same. So anyhow. I am going to put on a little music while you work on this. Feel free to drop in the chat. And then if you need a little support, drop that in the chat because I really believe in the power of this community and just knowing that you're not alone through those hardships. Share those. there are some tough thorns this week. I appreciate how this is a safe space for you to share, but also how those thorns are accepted by one another. I think that reminder that you are not alone when you're in the Sonder community. And also, there's just power in being able to claim it, put it in your journal, write it there. Sometimes thorns don't go away, but to just acknowledge they're there, and then maybe trying to step back and think, okay, what can I learn from this, or how can I find like the balance between the thorniness of it, but also what can I learn from it? That can be a very healthy way to approach those tougher things of life. So thank you all for sharing and supporting one another. And so let's get going with our weekly setup. Believe it or not, Wednesday is the 15th. Wednesday, Thursday, we're kind of smack dab in the middle of July. So we wanted just to kind of call out page 39, maybe make a little appointment reminder in your phone to go and do a self check in, see how things are going, what you're loving, what you're wishing, what you're reading, what you're wanting. Maybe you will put like some of those old movies in your watch list. Some folks will do this reflection on a week by week basis. You know, after the first week, they fill out the first line. After the second week, they fill out the second line, and they sort of do a weekly check in using this page. And then sometimes people will just do it in one sitting, sort of do that mid-month check-in. When you're doing this currently page, pay attention to like your habit tracker, that monthly habit tracker. If you check in with that and it's not looking so good in some things, give yourself permission to maybe wipe out those habits and just not worry about it, or change them up. Maybe they need a little tweaking so that you see some more consistency. So I love the idea of that mid-month check-in with this page, but also pairing it with your habit tracker. So there's that. I'm not going to give you time to work on it unless you want, but we're going to go ahead and dive into our weekly planner and look at those pages 40 and 41, which we're setting up. Now, we did want to call out this inspiration tip. Now, we don't have a lot of weekly information here, but sometimes folks will just post them randomly in there. But you can always go watch Sonder Socials for the weekly setups because there's so many of them. But don't forget, in Sonder Club, we've got this little how-to place that you can toggle over to and look at different ways of using your journal. And sometimes repurposed pages for like the expense tracker or how they're doing the mood tracker could show up somewhere in your weekly setup, right? You could take those ideas and incorporate them there. Here are a couple of examples of our page one setup. So you can see, you know, how goals and to-dos are set up. We've got tracking goals, we've got not tracking goals, or you know, setting a number and trying to meet that number, but also, oh, thank you, Marie, for sharing. Hers is on the right there. I loved your to-do bingo. I love a bingo board, as we all know. So you're going to see bingo, but also the way you covered up, use that little calendar space for your fun stickers. I thought that was very sweet. So let's go forward. We're gonna do a little check-in with yourself. I loved this graphic. So like, what is describing your current emotion? Like, let's think about where we are at this moment, and it's asking us to think about how intense is it? Do we need to do a shift? Is it, you know, are we searching for that word of how we want to feel? Check in with your body. And if you're not feeling calm, what you can do to feel calmer. Ask how you're treating yourself. Take a moment. You know, are you breathing? What can you let go of? And what are your goals for today or for this week? So I loved that check in, and that if we stop for a moment, then it can help us determine how we want to feel. You can see this person's done 3 words: joy and fearless and engaged. Oh, Amanda's angry right now. So yeah, we need to take that control back because that's not good. Not good for your heart. And but doing that self check really helps us set set the course ahead of how we want to feel. So think about how you want to feel. We need resolution, right, Amanda? You want to feel some resolution, some power, some control over that. Here's a word cloud to inspire you. Of course, we love the idea of stickers, decorating the space, making it pop for you. So when you open it up, you remind yourself of how you want to feel. Like, I want to feel awesome. You are already so deeply loved. I love how it's just highlighted with that fun washi tape and those stickers. Oh, Sonia's gonna feel spicy this week. I love that. So drop those in the chat. Joanna says completely content. If you're like stuck because you're feeling really angry, ask for help. Let's see what the Sonder family can help you with in setting how we want to feel. We're going to take those feelings into the goals and activities for the week. And so you can see how someone's just listed their three main goals for the week. Now, you may have some major goals that you set at the front end of the year, and they might be those big, audacious goals. Can you go take a look at those and break some of the steps down, and maybe some of those steps show up as your weekly goals? We've got some examples here of, go check those intentions. What did you say you wanted for the month? We always say, go look at them. Maybe look at page 9, or look at your monthly habit tracker. How is it going? Or maybe look at the stop, start, and continue box on page 8. Those are three that you could do your stop, start, and continue as your three goals, right, for the week. Of course, savoring, and maybe your goals go all hinge around what we're savoring this week, thinking about the mind map, last week's mind map, this week's mind map. I'm actually moving a lot forward into this week. That was actually another little thorn of mine. I just didn't get it done like I wanted to do it. So most of last week's stuff is showing up on this week. I'm going to get it done, giving myself grace, all that good stuff. It's okay to have those same goals from week to week. So yeah, there's some inspiration for you there. We'll look at here's, taking those goals that you have and then informing our to-do list directly with that. My to-do list goes into my weekly spread. I share this often. You've seen this about once every other month. I just loved that they really have one goal here, and that was to unplug. And I'm just thinking about how that impacts so much of their week if they can truly unplug, because we're all so addicted to our phones. And so you can see they've done their major goal, one goal, unplug, and then they gave themselves alternate activities to not pick up that phone, and they're tracking it in the habit and activity tracker. So really utilizing this whole page to hold themselves accountable to that unplugging. So maybe there's that one thing that you are really needing to focus on. So perhaps there's a way to set your page up for that accountability piece. This page always inspires me. So I like to share it, about every other month or so, bring it back around for us to see. I may end up needing to do something like that so that I can get things done. Of course, you don't have to put goals here. You can use this as an alternate tracker, habit tracker. You can see how we've got little Monday through Sunday trackers there. Maybe it's a bingo board. Um, I love, look at this bottom middle thing, um, the bottom thing says you can always edit a bad page. You can't edit a blank page. And I always love that mindset. Like, something's better than nothing. So like I may say, I only walked 5 minutes today, but it was better than 5 minutes on the couch, right? So I liked that reminder. I'm probably going to write that somewhere so I see it. You can always edit a bad page, but you can't edit a blank page, and fill that sucker out. I may go way too far over with my abilities, but I just love that. We're going to look at the to-dos very quickly. Of course, we shout out to this Eisenhower decision matrix. When you've got a long, long list of things to do, plug that list in. And yeah, it's a good quote, isn't it, Joanna? And this will help you Get it done. Get it done. And notice that like the delete box here is limit phone time daily. And so that's that delete. That's what they're realizing is sort of the roadblock in other things happening. Because some if you've to me, if you've put it down on the list, it probably can't be deleted. It could be maybe put off a little bit, but the delete box for the things that are standing in your way is a very good use of that space. All right. And then just some to-dos and the way people set that up. And maybe you just need a reminder, like just do the next thing, the next right thing, just 1% better, as James Clear says. Again, we're seeing bingos, we're seeing things divided up into what makes sense for you. Perhaps you just need a to-do box, a to-do space, and I love this. May all your to-dos turn into to-dos. And I do a to-do. I always write down the things I do that didn't make it on the list because I do want to remind myself I did do some things. I'm very productivity driven, and so I need to feed that part of my soul. And a to-do box speaks to me for that. And then at the bottom, we've got the habit and activity tracker. And got some different ways of setting this up. The one in the upper middle has designated time of day. So there's morning, there's a couple afternoon things, couple of evening things. The one at the bottom below that is all about the nighttime routine. So if there's a place in your life you're trying to shore up with a rhythm and routine, maybe this space gets dedicated to just that this week. And that's what's so nice about this tracker versus our habit tracker wheel is that this one can meet us where we are and what we need for the week. And then we've got also trying to spell the upper left one is trying to spell the word care um, for, every day this week. So they're going to do those things and then try to track it by spelling care 7 times. And remember, your progress can look different, right? So one day may be better than the next. And again, give yourself grace. We've always got another week. We can move things over into like what I'm going to be doing this week. So let's work on this page. Let me put on some music and y'all share how you're handling this page, what you're planning to do. And then we'll go do our second part of our setup. righty. While you're finishing this page up, first off, I love the collaboration. Like I'm looking for this word to encompass this. What do y'all think? This is like a brain trust in our community. So thank you for supporting one another that way. While you're finishing this page up, I'm going to go ahead and start talking about our second page because, of course, time is flying. And I'll scroll through a bunch of just different examples of what folks have done. I know you probably already know what you're going to do. We've always got that idea that this page just lends itself to some repurposing the spaces. Like we've got our serious goal setting and to-dos on the first page, and then this one sort of gets repurposed according to what we need or not. Maybe it's used just as it is. So you can see the example on the right has the meal plan as a meal plan. And I love Saturday and Sunday is to be determined. But I love the mind body health plan for something with your emotional or physical health. So we've got smile makers there. And then some things in the right one, they're going to do a pedicure and they're going to have breakfast with someone. And so, those things that are going to feed their soul. We got little sticker spots in the shopping list. So just love that. And this is an older one, but I am loving anticipating Italy. So I loved that for this person. If this was your page, how was Italy? Let us know. Maya's getting ready to take a trip to Spain. So Maya, yours might say I'm anticipating Spain. And then of course a place for our daily affirmations. Let's start by looking at some meal plan examples. I'll scroll through pretty quickly. Now, a lot of us, I saw this one, I thought this was a pretty good idea. A lot of us, I tend to have like the same few meals on rotation. So you could kind of do some hard copies of your meals, your plan, and kind of make post-it notes out of them or use a post-it note, and then they can be moved from week to week according to what you're having. And then, yep, there's my repositional glue stick, which Maya's going to share the Amazon link. I wish we got a kickback from that, but I discovered this and it makes a post-it note into anything. So you can take any piece of paper, put this repositional glue on it, and bam, you've got that. So that could be a really good suggestion for your meal plans. Sometimes those things kind of cycle through the same, unless you're trying to, do something different. So, there's the longest link in the world to buy a stick of glue. I think it's actually a quad pack, but it'll at least show you what you're looking for. Repositional glue stick, and then lots of repurposing here. So I know that you guys use this in different ways. Go ahead and drop in the chat if you yeah, it's a long one. If you repurpose your meal plan and use it for something other than a meal plan or a meal tracker or a nutrition tracker, drop that in the chat right now. And then we've got the mind body health plan, which I always say this is kind of your selfish space. Use it for whatever you need. Go look at your intentions for like your physical health or your emotional health, your spiritual health. I think this is a good space for those things to drop in and be found. Reflections like glimmers or one good thing, again, helping us find savoring in the moment. This is a really good spot for savoring, actually. Maybe you're doing a sensory thing where you're tapping into your five senses every day. Maybe you drop something like that here. And then we always love like the big O word bank, a list of things. So this is someone's self-care ideas. So it's growing. I always tell you, I put my distraction list in my phone. So if I'm feeling anxious, I can pull that list up and I have some go-tos to sort of reset myself. So same idea. You have like this big list of things that you can draw from, and then having a list like this will then inform spaces. You can just go shopping in this list of self-care ideas, for example, or I can go to my distractions list and pull off 5, 6, 7 things from a list I've already created, so I don't have to reinvent the wheel. And then that can inform one of these spaces or what you put on your, on your habits and activities, for example. So, like one of the things there says, make a done list. Like, what did I do? What a great end of day reflection. What did I do today? So, having a big old bank to go to and withdraw some ideas is a very good idea. And then, of course, our shopping list can be a shopping list, but it can also be repurposed. And I love this shopping list. I mean, little flowers with tea and peanut butter and jelly and vanilla extract and hand lotion. I mean, but what a cute shopping list, right? So you can definitely use this as a shopping list. Maybe take a picture of it so you've got it on your phone as well. And then there's a lot of repurposing that happens here. You can see some examples here. I want to point out the one on the bottom though, because it really goes with our savoring theme. No shopping. Instead, enjoy all you already have with a little mini list there of the things. This is such a great way to embrace our theme through this idea of not shopping and realizing what we have. I love the applause. Give myself a round of applause. A quote of the week. So, just some great examples of creating something a little different in the shopping list if it's not a shopping list. I shared this last week. I was inspired by the Silk and Sonder Instagram little summer bingo. Many of the things on that showed up in my weekly bingo. This was last week's bingo. Did I even mark off no phone hour? No, I did not. So it's going into this week, which is why I'm showing you the same bingo. But I did do a creative hobby and I had a seasonal fruit, but I washed it really, really well. A sweet treat. I did that. So I'm going to kind of use most of these things again for this week. Yeah, I decided the no phone hour cannot count while I'm sleeping. It's only when I'm awake. And then I'm showing you these inspo slides for maybe popping something into some of these areas. You don't have to use a calendar like this one in order. You can just pull off things you want. We got a digital declutter challenge. I'm going to stop talking because there's several of these, and I'll just go through those while you're working on this page. Alrighty, so the fastest hour of your life just occurred. Remember, this has been recorded, so you can always go back and watch the recording, grab stop it, grab a screenshot, or just stop it and write down the 7 things you need. These are two journaling prompts for morning and evening. That's kind of good if you wanted to spend a little extra time. I know lots of us do the daily rituals, but Maya is doing the link for our social recordings on the YouTube channel, so you can grab that. And I'll keep most of these graphics from week to week this month, so you can just grab what you need for that week. Really proud of y'all for showing up and the way you supported each other today. I know a couple of people posted they were doing just a photo a day challenge to sort of embrace their idea of savoring life by using their camera. Maya dropped the link in for the exclusive that's coming up on the 22nd. Be sure as we're leaving to drop in the chat what you are loving. And then we, of course, would love to see your weekly planner posted in Sonder Club. So thank you all for being here this morning and for starting the week. We're sending you lots of light and love for a great week. Bye, y'all.